Tiana is connecting. I guess she was just choosing the country to live in based on her name. She is Tiana, and she lives in Trinidad and Tobago. So it will be very easy to memorize. Tiana from Trinidad and Tobago. So Trinidad and Tobago is a pretty small country, but maybe there are some professionals who know where it is. So if you have any guesses, please shoot them in the chat box. We'll be happy to learn. And I'd like to introduce Tiana now. She is an iSpring Learning and Development Manager in the Sales Q&L department. She's a huge fan of sales and loves to talk about solution selling, She will share with you how sales onboarding is set up now in iSpring and why it needed updating. So just before we proceed with, I'd like to once again say, if you want to implement everything that now you learn from our sessions, you're more than welcome to get a free trial of iSpring Learn LMS. I think it's a great way to test everything out at your own pace. As I said, it's free for 30 days of use. So my colleagues will share a link in the chat. And I can't wait to switch to our very last session, which is a case study about onboarding in the iSpring sales department. So Tiana, do you hear me? Do you hear me well? Do you see me well?
I can hear you and see you perfectly well. Thank you so much. Thank you for a nice introduce. I really enjoyed it. Did anyone guess at all that I'm from Trinidad and Tobago?
Let's have a look. I have questions about your full name. Maybe people are wondering if your last name starts from letter T, but no, it's not. Doesn't. Sorry. It is Tiana Ray. So yeah. Let me see if we have some of the guesses about Trinidad and Tobago. I guess we don't have the guesses, but we have comments. We have a comment from Glenda. She says it's beautiful there, and I'm jealous.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Come visit.
Yeah, they got a great 4-person bobsled team. It's an island that I love, says Zassi, and Zassi also says that she loves Trini culture and food. So
that's right.
And we have one participant from Trinidad, Janella. Janella is from Trinidad.
So hi, Janella.
Yay,
thank you for joining us. Yes, it's good to see your fellow citizens. You know, maybe we're close by. I'm just in Arima. Just come visit, you know. Thank you so much for that. You know, it was just like a pleasure to get to know a little bit of the audience. It was very nice. Thank you so much for that, Chris. So shall we begin? What do you think?
If there is anything that constrains us from that, let me know, because I can't wait to start.
No, absolutely. I totally enjoyed all the speakers. I hope the audience is still, pretty warmed up right now for me, you know. So I'm still hoping that I will get some views and some live participation would be greatly appreciated. You guys can shoot any questions while I'm doing the presentation. And feel free to shoot them in the chat. So Chris can read them to me. So we will stay in touch, you know, so I know what is going on exactly. Okay. I do want to say, you know, while I was listening to Emily, thank you so much. Because I am in charge of onboarding in global sales, I would have to say that I did like the point about praising people for achievements. I probably didn't think of it very nicely. I only gave so little points, and maybe I'm thinking right now I need to implement some badges as well, you know, so it's a good idea. Thank you so much, Emily. So I do want to share today with you a story, because some of the speakers, I saw them, they put in a chat that they would like to learn more about iSpring. So this is like an inside information for you guys. We're going to share our own case, how we decided here at iSpring to change our existing onboarding in the sales department. And I will tell you why we decided. I will tell you what we have achieved. We haven't achieved, I would tell you, super duper results, meaning that not because the onboarding is not great. It is great because we did our best, you know. But the thing is that we only implemented it, I would say, only after the first quarter. In the first quarter of this year. So just, I don't have that much of the data for you, you know, but I will tell you the story. So back in 2019, 21, when I joined quality sales and learning department, I have to say that it was a great idea from the iSpring point of view to implement such a department. So I do have a questions for the audience, like if you do, which department is in charge of the sales onboarding in your company? So Chris, if you just like shoot me the answers, and I'll tell you why I'm asking. Because previously we didn't have a specific sales quality and learning department in iSpring. And with the implementation of this department, which I joined, and I'm grateful for, we have made so many changes, and we have seen so much progress with the sales guys that we are dealing with these days. So just kind of curious if you have any specific department in your establishment. Do we get any answers as yet, Chris?
Because we have this little delay in live streaming from where we are now to the actual time when it's being transmitted to YouTube, I think we need still 10 to 15 seconds. So maybe you could share a bit of your experience, how it's organized in the client's companies or...
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you then the brief story of I will set up the scene for you. The thing is that we used to previously, when I joined sales quality and learning, we only used to have at that time, I would say about 80 to 100 sales guys. As of now, our company has more than 150. So you see our company is growing, scaling up, and we do... and the onboarding that we had in place, it really needed to be updated. And that was the idea of us actually doing that. And also because I am a learning and development manager, what my responsibilities are basically teaching sales guys how to sell. But at the same time, I have encountered so many things when I was providing this individual development plan and the coaching, that not all the sales guys who we have in team are familiar with the things that they should be knowing from the onboarding. So that is why I would say that we needed to make the changes. But I will tell you more in details. Do we have any answers as yet?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And this is that Celine mentions from Canada that she has this L&D department in charge of that. Juventus says they don't have a separate department. It's just an onboarding team. John mentions that John from Sydney, I remember that, mostly is collaboration, sales and HR, which is interesting. David mentions that our company doesn't have an onboarding system. And Estella answers that this is HR. And I'm sure we're going to be getting more comments shortly. And while we're getting them, I would kindly like to remind you that we do have this option of the shared screen, and we still see only your beautiful face on the shared screen.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry about that. I'm going to move on.
No, it's totally fine. Yeah, I'm just excited.
Yeah, this is what I was telling you, that we right now, that's great that everybody shares me. I just do want to say that to those organizations, if there are any CEOs in the building, I just do want to let you know, guys, if you want to scale up your business, you would need to think about implementing an L&D department in your sales. And I would strongly recommend to just scaling up is impossible without sales. It's just simple as that. So if you do want to scale up, you would need a bigger sales team, and you do need a great learning and onboarding system. Like Natalie mentioned, that onboarding is actually, it's not only about skills and assessments, how to test their knowledge, but it's also the values that your company presents. And this is what we're going to talk today about. Okay. So as of now, iSpring has 150 sales reps, and they are located all over the globe. Like you can see, I'm also, because I'm in sales department, I'm also in Trinidad and Tobago, and we cover 24 zones. And most of our employees, they do work remotely, and we do get about 4 to 6 new employees a quarter. And our onboarding is 90 days. So the first 90 days are very crucial. And after these 90 days, when they pass the onboarding, they actually get to me, to the learning and development manager. And I have to say that the onboarding program that existed before this year actually did not perform that well with the guys. And we have encountered challenges. And those challenges we found out during the sessions that we had with them. And we realized that our sales guys, they sometimes even confuse just simple thing as just like sales stages. They're not sure what kind of lead they're dealing with, and if it's a warm lead, if it's just like a person from the outside, if it's a cold. They very fishy about that. They don't know, and they're not aware of what kind of questions they should ask different stages, meaning like, when do you ask the menu type of questions, when do you ask open-ended questions, during what sales stage. And when we looked at all the and analyzed all the demos that they used to do and the conversations that they had with the clients, we realized that most of the things that they do not present the value. We saw them talking about the features that our great product have, but how is it valuable for this specific business? They were lacking to answer that. And they also didn't know all these levels of decision makers who participated in the process of buying a software, right? So, and they also, we even saw such things as my biggest thing is not setting a goal for a call or a meeting. They were not planning their days, and they also had difficulties understanding like this. If this is your target, how are you supposed to reach it? So I cannot say that it's only me who did the onboarding for our sales department. I would say that I did have help from my colleague, and I have to say that all these difficulties, they made us realize that we do need to change. And if the change needs to be done, you have to have, first of all, a vision, right? So when you want to change something, you have a vision. And first of all, we wanted to shorten the process, the onboarding process. What do I mean by that? Previous onboarding used to take, it was still 90 days, but at the same time, we also worried about the fact that people did not start making trial calls earlier than they were supposed to. And this process of onboarding, finishing all these courses that they had to take, it would take sometimes longer than 90 days. And that's why we wanted to make sure that this program has to be, the onboarding has to be rapid, short, but it's to the point, and it has to be divided into certain days, certain activities, and it is a learning path, just like Emily said, So we also wanted to provide the guys with, of course, one of the idea of the onboarding is to provide them with the company visions and missions and what our goals and priorities of our company. This is a very, very good point that Natalie made in her answer just in the previous presentation. And we also wanted to help the guys, the newbies. We call them Padawans, by the way, just like in Star Wars. So we wanted them to understand what are they expected of, and what their job is consist of. And we also wanted to for them to realize how to reach those expectations that we have for them. Okay. And since we talked about the challenges, I'm just curious if you guys see any of the challenges in your existing onboarding. Can we ask this question?
I don't see anything that would prevent us from doing that. Let's give it a try. Yes. Do you guys see any challenges? Let's have a look at your answers in the chat. Once the live streaming reaches you, we'll probably be already somewhere ahead. So let's
I can talk a little bit more about like what we had previously, so the guys will get the idea, right? Yeah. So previously we used to have the onboarding, but unfortunately it was not created by the salesperson. So we had great courses, but the way they were combined together, they didn't make sense. And we used to have different learning paths as well. And that it also made people to realize that they don't remember where they stopped or where they finished. But at the same time, that's why all these like different paths, we decided to combine in one straight line so it would be easy process. We also, in the previous onboarding, yeah, we still, it was a buddy system implemented, and we decided that it's a great idea. And in order for us to deliver those missions and values, we'll still need to keep those. And those guys, they still exist in the onboarding, but previously they used to do things differently too. Previously, even the buddies had different responsibilities with the guys who were newbies. Right now, they also have new, I would say, things that they have to do as a buddy or a mentor, you can call them, you know. So we did have certain things that made us realize that change need to happen. We get the answers?
I think we are in progress, so just need
Okay.
a couple of more seconds to catch them. So yes, making them comfortable is a challenge. I know, as I have to train them on the company induction, SAS Juventus.
Okay.
So let's see. I think there are going to be more coming shortly.
Absolutely. So another thing is that with the previous onboarding, we also used to keep different types of materials. We still had the, of course, we had iSpring Learn LMS, but we did have them, we did use other resources as well for keeping certain stuff. And we decided that we no longer want to keep it that way, because iSpring Learn has all the comfort, and I would say all the necessary things that made us possible to keep it all in one place too, you know? So definitely. And I would say courses that we already had in the onboarding, as I said, they were, as I mentioned, they were super good, but they just needed to be like I would say, perfectly put together. You know, it was just like a puzzle. We had the pieces, but unfortunately the picture was not what we wanted to see at the end of the onboarding. So we decided that the picture needs to change. It has to be a happy salesperson, not some puzzled feature that you don't understand what that is in front of you, you know? So
some puzzled creature, I would say. Yeah,
exactly. Right.
So it feels like some of our audience might have missed the question because they're asking to repeat the question. So I believe
I'm so sorry.
No, it's totally fine. Let's just maybe proceed to the next part of your story. Repeat the question and proceed so that everybody else who wants to share their opinion would be able to do that.
Yes, I'm sorry you guys didn't hear it. I asked you if you have any challenges with your existing onboarding. Maybe you have you have experienced the same pain we did. So okay.
Well, let's proceed.
So as I said, like working on the personal level, and my colleague, we both realized that improvements, they need to be made, you know, and we realized that what existed is no longer working for us. And like you said, we don't want no more puzzled creatures coming out, you know. So we decided that we have to make a clear onboarding structure. So everything right now is implemented in iSpring Learn, and it's just a simple thing, just like that, that looks very easy. All they have to do, users go to their portal, they can go from their mobile device, or they can do it from their computer. And they see everything is there. Day one, it means that they have to accomplish everything in day one. And I do have to say that all the courses inside of these days, they are divided into sales trainings and product training. Why did we do it? Very simple, because our guys, they need to know our product, absolutely. But at the same time, we realize that the sales skills are also important. So right now, they spend 8 hours at work, so 4 hours they devote to sales training, 4 hours they devote to product training. And what do I mean by that? Sales skills are tested with us, and we test them through the assessments and assignments. What is that? Basically, I would say that our guys on the second week of the sales training, they have homeworks. They have to do it. You know, we check in their knowledge. simply because on the second week, we introduce them to our sales methodology that we use here at iSpring. And they have to be familiar with that. They have to realize who is our ideal client profile. And they have to understand what are the businesses that we help and what do we help with. All these questions, they have to know the answer. So we wanted them, as I said, if you remember, we didn't want them to be more feature oriented. We wanted them to get into business so they can understand what is going on, what processes are happening. And that's why we put them together into the assignments and assessments. Have we received any answers, Chris? I kind of feel like I'm rushing.
We have. No, it's totally fine. There were many answers, and many thanks for repeating the question. Lack of collaboration between departments was a challenge. I believe if we collaborate on different aspects of onboarding and create a cohesive process, it will be a better experience for the employee. This is what Anna says.
Okay, Anna. I feel you.
Yeah, Estella said, yes, a lot of challenges. I have to expand on our onboarding. HR coordinates our onboarding. We provide mental health services. We have our professional teach in person onboarding, and some is done online. Teaching onboarding, sorry. We have made lots of changes in the last 4 years as we remove things that do not work, plus adjusting to pandemic. Then Celine was saying that updating is the major challenge because it has to be done on a regular basis.
Updating, yes, it's not just a regular basis. Here, I would have to say, I'm sorry, what was the name of this person?
Updating? Celine.
Yes, Celine. Very good point. I totally agree with you. You see, because, but I would recommend probably, like from my experience, I'm thinking right now because the first quarter is gone. Second one is finishing up. So I'm thinking that and you get the ideas, like today conference is also, you get the ideas, like what like minor things that maybe need to be changed. And I have to say, getting the feedback from your newbies who you try to use and test on them your new updates on your onboarding, I would say that their feedback is very important too. So listen to them as well, Okay, continue, Chris. Thank you so much for that one.
What do you want me to continue with? I think we're good with these answers, and we have a couple of more comments, but I'll probably leave it to the end of the juicy part of us.
Okay, goody good. So as I said, we combined the how do we test their knowledge? We test it through the assessments and assignments. And I have to say also that we decided, and it's like a thing with our departments. Some of the guys mentioned that they lack the collaboration with the different department. I'm very grateful for our tech ninjas, and I want to thank them again that they helped us to actually combine it all together, because they used to have a different system in place as well previously. They used to check their knowledge with the different things. They used to just send them a document on their Outlook, and it was just kind of not what we wanted to see anymore. And at the same time, I have to say that these guys, they are also, if we would speak about the buddies, our sales guys, they have two buddies. One is a product buddy and one is basically a sales buddy. Okay, so that's why these buddies, what do? They are the people who actually help you. They take you by hand. They don't push you. Nobody's here to get rid of you. That's the thing. That's the major thing that all of our employees, they have to realize. We don't want to get rid of them. We just have these older brothers and sisters who actually help them, who take their hand and they say, okay, here you made a mistake. Maybe you can think it over. Even in their homeworks, I see how I check those homeworks sometimes myself, and I see what this person, if I needed more answer, what do they think about it? So, having a remote worker, this is a perfect, I would say, assessment and assignment is a perfect way to speak to your employees, to your newbies, and buddies, they are perfect to provide company's mission, visions, our goals and our priorities. Okay. Can we ask another questions to the audience then? I do want to know if you guys have a buddy system in place with your onboarding.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Please provide your answers if possible. Do you have a buddy system in your company? But while we are waiting for the answers, may I please clarify? Are we speaking about buddies, or are we also speaking about mentors? Like, do you put these two terms aside? Like, do you differentiate between them, or do you see this as the same thing?
It's the same thing for me. Yeah.
Okay.
I have encountered people who call them mentors. I'm used to more buddy because I used to have a buddy myself when I used to work on a different work. So I'm just used to that term, so.
Yeah. So if there is a mentorship system, that also works.
Yeah. It's the same thing. Yes, absolutely. Because buddies, as I said, like I do want to go into the details here. So our tech buddies, they provide guys with all the information. As I said, they have to learn, for example, iSpring Suite Max. Then they learn iSpring Learn LMS. Okay. And through all these steps, they have to realize how the product works too. And all these guys, they're doing so much work. They checking with them. They always help them. We also test the knowledge of the product, of course. And I do want to say that, we do have huge quizzes on both products, our major products, that is iSpring Suite Max and iSpring Learn. And we have a huge test. And for those people who passing right now the test to get the certificate for iSpring Suite Master, they have to know that most of these questions, they are taken from the onboarding, so, and we update those tests as well. So as I said, these guys are really great help, and especially sales guys, they always give them a hand by just letting them know how they can adapt here, in iSpring. Have we received anything? I feel like I do want to know what people are saying.
Yes, of course, because this makes you more responsive and it helps you tailor the content. That makes perfect sense. So we do have a couple of questions, and I'm sure more are coming. We have one gentleman saying, Juventus is saying no, onboarding team works in collaboration with other departments only. So there is no buddy system, but there is a collaboration in place. And David says, our company has a buddy system, but it's not always followed or begins to break employees into cliques. Wow. The system needs to be reset up.
Interesting.
Effective. Okay. Right. Celine is saying that, yes, mentoring, but on punctual period only, not systematically.
Not micromanaging. I agree with you completely on that one. Okay.
Yeah. So that seems to be it for now. But again, I'm sure because of the delay, we're going to receive more shortly. Okay.
Sure. Absolutely. Then I guess we can talk about the results that we have achieved. We have improved so many good things, so what have we achieved? I have to say that the people that I tested my onboarding that we have created, not mine, but our onboarding that we have created, I would say that they told me that they like the pace. They do like the pace. They do like that the first week is actually, they don't do no homework. They just getting to know the product, which is iSpring Suite Max, on the first week, and they just get to know it. And they do some tasks only on a second week. And on the second week, when they start having homework, as I said, they're getting the knowledge of the methodology that we're using here at iSpring. And we also, once the product training is over, they would actually start having more calls by the time, so when the product training is over, that usually happens on week 4. So on the 5th week, they already start calling. They already sometimes they even make calls on the 4th week, and they already, I would say, no longer have to be doing homeworks for the product. They get to experience it over the phone. So they check their knowledge. I would say like it's a live practice right here and there. And it's still a very good pace that they get. And we realize that we're also dealing with people. So if the people need more time, we want to give them more time because we're all different, right? And we also improve the engagement, meaning that the courses we have combined right now, they are different types of courses. Some of them are videos, some of them are just interactive, some of them are simulations, role plays, and they get all kinds of different courses. So it's always more engaging that way. And we did shorten the time. As I mentioned, our used to be existing onboarding, our guys used to call on maybe on after the second month, and right now we get the results already after the first month. And we combined, I'm proud of that one, as I said again, that we managed to combine product and sales training together in the same platform in our learning and management system. We also improved the buddy system. Like I said, thank you guys for answering all these questions that I asked about the buddies. And we did actually collaborate with a lot of departments. And I have to say that I'm very grateful that HR allowed us to do it. And I'm very happy that they took it off their shoulders, and we were happy to take it off. We are very grateful to the tech support who helped us with the product training. We're also very grateful to our IT department who helped us with all the different accesses to all the different programs the newbies are using and all our sales guys are using. And we managed to collaborate with our department managed to collaborate with everybody, and we all got a positive feedback. I would have to say that in right now in my individual works, I definitely see that the guys that I'm talking to, they know exactly, they have I see the progress myself, how they talk. We also have weekly meetings where we invite all these Padawans, all these new Padawans to after the first month, so they can get to know more about sales, where we actually talk about sales. We discuss the calls. We also watch some webinars. We also discuss some hot topics. We also discuss subjects they want to hear about. So I would definitely say that I really like the results that I'm seeing right now. I'm looking forward to the end of this quarter so I can get more information and see how well the learning track is going by our guys. And that's it. We will see what happens next. But I have to say, like I mentioned earlier, that probably would need some updating regarding the points and badges system. That also made me think about it, and definitely probably something to look into. All right. Thanks, Chris. I have nothing else, but I really would like to hear questions.
Yay! I'm sure it's not that you don't have anything else to say. I'm sure you have lots of things to say.
Absolutely.
But you want to be more specific in your delivery. So I'm looking forward to receiving the questions, Tatiana. The first question we have received is whether this is the wind in your microphone. Are you somewhere close to the beach, or what is that exactly happening with that sound? People were very curious.
I'm sorry, my crisp minutes ran out. I did have my perfect program that I used, but unfortunately they ran out for some reason. I have to renew them. I do apologize for this inconvenience. I am in Trinidad and Tobago, so it's quite breezy out here these days. I have to say, I'm so sorry about that. If you guys didn't hear it.
No, it's perfectly fine. It gives a certain charm to the presentation. So while we are waiting for the first questions, I am sure that I have a couple. So I would like to start with my questions because myself, I'm very interested in your topic. So let's have a quick look. So like you have shared with us the first results, you have shared with us the successes, the first positive outcomes. But I was wondering, what do you want to improve in your onboarding yourself?
What do I want to improve? I have to say, when combining this onboarding, there were certain things that needed to be improved. Like, for example, we had the idea that we lack in certain courses. So we have actually, as I said, we have a collaboration with our HR department. So what we have decided to do, since we have the buddy system in place, These guys who are trained for the buddies in the department of sales, to become a sales buddy for the newbie, they have to come up with a new course. So that's a great collaboration between the departments. And we realize that there are certain things that we are missing in our onboarding. That's absolutely true, because when you combine it together, you see that there are certain things that you really would like to add as well. So because of this collaboration, we have actually come up with a great thing, like it's a I would say, how would you call it? Like, it's a great relationship. Like, I don't even know like, how you call it. Symbiosis. What would you call it? It's a great.
Either symbiosis or good bonding.
Yes, bonding is great too. So it's just iSpring, I have to say that. Yeah. We just decided that they can help us out, because it's very important for the sales department. So yes, this was a great thing that we actually achieved together, and if we didn't have anything, of course, improvements, they need to be made. And I do think that like this quarter, I will definitely need to look into the new guys, because we have received new guys who just completed the onboarding, and I can also collect their feedback, So
yeah, no, never-ending process, never-ending feedback.
Absolutely, never. And plus, we get the updates. The products get updated, so it's always cool.
Let me jump in with the question about the spring new products, etc., iSpring new products.
All right.
What would you recommend for a beginner in iSpring for content design, says Juventus?
What is his name? I'm sorry?
Juventus.
Thank you for this question. That's a very good question. I would totally recommend you to sign up for a YouTube channel for iSpring, where we have actually how to do videos. If you're really interested in learning how to do things, like how to create courses and e-learning, like I would strongly recommend you to go and just like take a look. If you want to, if you have a specific task that you would like to achieve, then I would suggest you to download the trial and start the trial and use the how-to videos. You can also do that. And when you are ready to do this, you can also take up a certification program that we actually have at iSpring, that all of our, if you want to be an instructional designer and you want to be qualified in iSpring products, feel free to do so. You can actually pass the certification program here as well, so you can present it in your resume. Feel free to do that. Yeah.
That's very sweet. Okay, thank you so much. We got another question from Nathan. At what point do you bring people back for advanced training? How do you know when to do that? And are people selected, or is it a self sign up?
I have to say that a lot of questions in one, but that's good. Let's start with the first one. People, yes, we do get advanced training. I would say when they reach a certain level, So on the first one, it's just like you have juniors, junior 1, junior 2, and then when we get into higher levels, this is where actually the advanced training starts. If you're talking about my individual, this is usually, I get usually J, and I move them to J1 to and J2. I move to Pro. Okay. And the Pro guys, those are the ones who will actually get additional training as well. And this happens, I would say, this is only for Pro guys. And we just recently had a nice training with Ian Cognac. So I can't say his word. He's a really good guy, so I really loved his training as well. And this was also only for our Pro guys. And right now, one of my tasks is right now actually to make a course.
Wow.
Exactly.
I think judging by your excitement, it feels like you're enjoying this kind of tasks and assignments.
Absolutely. I love my job. Absolutely. And today when I was listening to Kevin, I was like, oh, good point. Yes, I do need to do this with my, letters and everything. It was good today. I liked it.
Okay. I'm happy that you've enjoyed that as well. Yeah. We have several more questions. And sure. I would like to thank John for sharing so many useful tips and links and sources. Feels like he has contributed so well to our chat discussion. So awesome. Tiana, you will be able to see that after the session when you review the chat. Anyway, sure. The question comes from David. What are
Okay.
your favorite tips for onboarding, and what do you think is the best thing about the onboarding process?
Best thing about onboarding process is that you getting a new person and you're getting a whole new world with this new person. And it's awesome that this person comes into your company and you actually can transform this person and you can have some ideas. Actually, when we choosing guys, they already have to be kind of iSpringish, if I may say so, meaning that they have to have fire in their eyes. So we just want, I would say that we love new people, and onboarding is my best tip. I have to say that creating and updating onboarding is not easy. It's really not easy because it's actually very time consuming, because you would have to go through all the courses that you had before. You have to just break them down. What skill do they get? What skill do you get out of it? You also have to then realize, like, out of this, like, how can you combine them so they make sense? And then you have to realize, like you said, Chris, what are you missing? So you also have to realize, like, filling the gaps. Like, you have to realize that you will have that gap, how you can just like close it. So I would say that just be patient. That's my advice. If I may give it so, just be
For this,
patient.
you need
Yes,
an
there's going to
awareness.
be ups and downs, but collaboration really helps. Like, just like working with different departments, they are part of this process. It's actually a true blessing too. So
Oh, yeah.
collaborate. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That sounds like a very valid tip. And again, to me, for this, you need to take a course on awareness or whatever. Okay. So I think we ran out of questions for now. Perhaps a couple might appear while we are finalizing and wrapping it up. But I don't think I see more questions on behalf of the audience. Yeah, that feels like we are good, and people are very, I'd say, very packed with our information, and they're digesting.
I think they're tired too, Chris, to be honest with you. They had a nice marathon today.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
I have come up with a lot of takeouts for me. Like, I was like, wow, so much have been shared.
I thought it would have been iSprint, but it was an iSpring marathon. Instead. Anyway, Tiana, may I just kindly ask you to maybe use this opportunity to summarize a couple of points that you want people to take away from your session, like the final remarks that you want to highlight again?
Yes, I strongly recommend you to look into your own existing onboarding, especially if we talk about sales. Like I said, sales is always evolving. It's always, but it's still human. So keep in mind that your sales guys, they need to know the values of your company, and they need to learn the skills, and just make it easy for them. When you create in the onboarding, think about the people. Think about how you can affect them. Don't overload them with things. Just let them process. If you think about like the buddy system, if you never had it, and if you're thinking about it, maybe it's a good way right now just to think about it, because having a person, even just like from far away on a Zoom, it's already helpful that this another person, this sales newbie or the Padawan, that like we call them, they see them. It's very important too. Human touch is always important. And I also want to say that collaboration, again, without the help of different departments, it's not easy to implement different things. The change needs to happen, and when the change needs to happen, you need to include people. So I would, if there's any salespeople in the audience that listen to us, I just do want to let you know that, multi approach, that need different departments need to be involved in this decision making. So that's all I have to say about the onboarding.
Yay! Thank you so much, Tiana. I'm so happy we are done with this part, because I am looking forward to actually proceeding to the sweetest part of today's marathon. I want to thank you again for being so passionate, and it's usually extremely challenging to be the last person speaking, usually because there is low energy in the audience, and you've also already heard so much and you also want to process this information, but at the same time you need to deliver. So anyway, it was a pleasure working with you and having you as our speaker today. Yay. I hope you can stay till the very end of the session while we are exchanging the feedback, etc., etc. Right. Sure. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a meeting it was. I was very engaged myself as well. Almost, what was that? Almost 5 or 6 hours. I lost track of time. I'm so sorry. Non-stop of these speeches. Well, not exactly the speeches, but they were mostly the experience sharing, the stories, the answers to your questions. And I do hope that we satisfied your expectations and we have provided this teaser for tomorrow. So I see thank you words are coming for Tiana, are coming to Tiana for her speech that she has delivered, for her answers to the questions. But I would also like to see something else in the chat apart from that. And this is not thank you, Christina words, not at all. What I would love to see in the chat would be a one line that you might share with everybody, the idea, a thought, a fact, anything that you want to take away from today's conference and that you like the most, that you think will be the most valuable for you. Frankly speaking, I'm a part of a discourse which believes whenever something is not reflected upon, it's not being processed, it's not being fully, let's say, digested, not being fully incorporated into your current worldview. So I do think we need this reflection. So if you could please share with me and with each other, which is most importantly with yourself, a line, an idea, a phrase, a fact, or anything, an insight that you want to take away, something that you're taking away with you from this today's conference, I would be very happy to learn about that. And also everybody, huge team that stands behind this conference will be very happy to learn about these things so that tomorrow we'll be able to tailor the content better and so that we'll be able to do the next editions of the conference better. So while you're writing and thinking and processing, because it's actually not a very simple question because we've learned so much today, I'd like to remind you and refresh all sessions in your memory. So today, the very first session, feels like it was ages ago, was about launching e-learning, what you need to know beforehand. So I think we understand now how to identify the main objectives and business goals of your e-learning project, how to get your director or decision maker on board with e-learning, how to choose a perfect LMS and an authoring tool for your case, and how to save money and keep the high quality of e-learning. Yeah. The second session was from Ohio with Kevin Stiegel, who was speaking all the time about course design, how to develop easy to learn content in PowerPoint. And during his very practical and very engaging session, he covered basic rules of designing in a course, how to use visuals to enhance the learner experience, different PowerPoint tips and tricks that will make the slides look fantastic. Easy to manage visuals is one key to e-learning success. And he also offered us a free giveaway of a book about iSpring suite authoring tool. So if you didn't have time to, please take a minute and participate. So I hope my colleagues will be able to copy a link again. Next, we had Emily Woods, I think from Washington, if I'm not mistaken, about learning paths. And now we know how to manage trainees from different departments to develop learning paths themselves, how to create a learning path for every role profile. And we have clarified our understanding about the learning path itself, I believe. That's what we started with. Next, right after the break, we had Natalie Taylor from iSpring. She covered e-learning metrics and results, how to use them for business success. And she covered many points, among them how to evaluate the effectiveness of your e-learning with LMS reports and link them with the other company's metrics, how to formulate hypotheses, how e-learning will benefit the business, how to link e-learning metrics with KPIs, how to save money on corporate training that isn't the ultimate goal at the same time, how to identify and fix issues in business processes with e-learning analytics. And if you miss Natalie's LinkedIn link, here it is. I hope my colleagues will insert this. And the last but not least, today's session was from Trinidad and Tobago, a windy, breezy session with Tiana Ray about case study, onboarding, and the iSpring sales department. A very, very inspiring session about how to identify an issue and how she found a solution, about how to collaborate with the very different departments and bring everybody on board, about this buddy system, and about tracking the results and making sure that the results are easily measurable and understandable. And we also had some follow-up questions on how we can assure that the next iteration of onboarding is going to be even better. So if you did manage to attend one or the other session today, not to worry. We will send you the recordings of all the sessions after the conference, but don't forget, anytime you are online, there is always a chance to communicate with the speaker and to make sure you receive the right answers to the right questions, exactly the questions that you have, which is, of course, a privilege of those who watch in real life streaming. So let's have a quick look at what you have proposed as the most important session takeaway. So let me read it out loud. So Juventus has calculated 5 hours, 45 minutes. Yes, my poor legs and my poor back. Right. The ideas that we have received were Kevin with design and how to build the visuals and the wow factor. Mapping out content and analyzing what belongs together for a learning pitch. A lot of information that people enjoyed, but Kevin with the tools and tricks for creating different PowerPoints were really helpful and engaging. Kevin was fun and kept us engaged, and Emily was as well engaging and kept us with the good energy level. No matter where in the world we work and what business we do, training is important and people needs are very similar. Exactly. I totally agree with you here. Thank you for the great first day. The mapping process was very informative, says David. We also have Sarah Jo. She said, I really soaked up everything today and I'm a brand new to e-learning L&D, but I love the CCA tool and I will bring that to my team. I also found how to pick the best metric and I also feel I know more lingo. Celine says tools and fonts from Kevin and how iSpring suite is tailored for PPT, which is a huge asset. Perhaps the first presenter could reflect on the session facilitated by Kevin, says John. Thank you, John, for sharing that. The onboarding seminar was very informative, says David, referring to Tiana's webinar. And we learn something every day if we are open and ready for it, says Estella. Learned a little something from each presenter, but Kevin was definitely engaging and enjoyable. And David says, I don't think one portion can be calculated. I feel that each segment provided all of us with facts that we needed. And probably the final one that I'm going to read out loud is the one from Juventus. Learning is a journey. You learn something new every day. We couldn't agree more. This sounds like a motto for our conference and our activity in general. So I really, really, really want to thank you all, guys. This was extremely, extremely pleasant for me to be with you because you were very engaged, very focused, always answered our questions. And I felt like, even though I don't see your faces, I can't look into your eyes, I felt like I was with you throughout this almost 6 hours.